enjoying and playing my chess, and suddenly they gave me a GM title. And then I was like, shit. Okay, my friends later gave me this option. You have a chance to become GM, but you have a chance to die. Then immediately I called my dad again. He's like, okay, what now? I said, no, I become a GM. I think my mom started to cry. She had tears and she was like so happy. I think that was the most happiest moment for me because becoming GM was one thing, but I think it was more happy to see my parents, especially my mom, happy. That was the biggest thing about becoming GM for me.
Hello everyone, this is Grandmaster Aditya Sur Roy and welcome to the very first episode of the GyanMaster Diaries. I'm really fortunate to welcome India's 91st Grandmaster Raahul V S to our first episode. Rahul is not only one of the nicest guys you will meet in the chess world, but also a really hard-working chess player. I have been following his journey since early 2022, and his career and this episode are both very special to me. It's 4 a.m. in the morning, and I couldn't wait to edit the video. And as all chess players, I also blundered. I blundered the audio of the second part of the video. So for now, we are releasing the first part. So enjoy, and we assure you that we will release the second part soon. Thank you. Rahul, thank you so much for joining us today. First of all, many congratulations for becoming one of India's latest grandmasters. Before we jump into the deep dive into your career, I just wanted to know that when you knew in the penultimate round that if you score in this round, you will become the grandmaster, what was going on your head? How much pressure was that, or where was there no pressure? Because in 2021 you became an IM, and it took almost 4 years to take the next leap. Tell us about that previous night before the game.
Okay, actually, it was not very clear to me that if I win, I would become a grandmaster
Okay.
because I had a Mongolian IM who was like trailing me with off points, and so the entire tournament I was behind the book called tie breaks, and because we have this rating average, and I was the third seed, he was the second seed, so he always got a better rated opponents. And I was like, he was playing fantastic chess, so I was like, more like I was worried, like this guy is if he keeps winning, no, even if I keep winning, I will never become a champion. So I was in that mindset, and but suddenly he made a draw on the previous round, and we both were playing against decent opponents. I was playing against some, I think 2399. So I was playing around 2400. He was also playing at 2400. And the game, I was not very nervous, mainly because I think I was just trying to, I was just preparing. I was just trying to fight because it was not a clear cutout yet. So it was like I was mainly trying to sustain my chances of getting a title. And I was like literally hopeless when it comes to tiebreaks. So I was like, I even completely gave up hopes that I will ever win the championship. So I was just trying, okay, maybe just to improve my chances, I have to win one game. And actually, that game was pretty straightforward. My opponent, I think he was not really doing his best, probably, and I got a very straightforward advantage. I think it's like it was very funny because my game ended quite fast. So my roommate was Soham Kamotra. He's from Jammu, and he played like 12 moves, 15 moves in his game. He comes and looks at my board. I'm already in a change up in the end game, and he was like looking at me, bro. I just played 10 moves in my game, and I saw your game's already over. And I think that ended very pretty quickly. And I was not thinking about the titles yet because I saw on the second board this guy from Mongolia. He's like playing fantastic chess. I completely believe he's gonna win. And after the game, I was like in a call with my dad. I was like, this guy keeps on winning, so I have to at least play decent chess tomorrow. I was like, I'm complaining these things about with my dad, and then I mean, it was because I respected him a lot. He played very fantastic chess, and all honesty, I was like, if it's a tie break, he was much more deserving the way he played. He was like, I mean, it's like sometimes you get really impressed by someone who is playing on the same tournament, yeah. So it was that kind of sensation to me, and then what happened was suddenly I got a call from my roommate. He just said that guy lost, and I was like, okay, you're joking. So I didn't completely believe it at all. Like he told me like two, three times. Then only I believed like he actually lost the game because the way he was playing, I thought him losing was not possible at all. And suddenly, because I think what I noticed was like the last two, 3 rounds, like 7, 8, 9th round, the tension was building a lot. For me, it was more like I was used to that kind of situation before in championships, and I had one simple policy: like I was not checking anyone's game. I just wanted to, play decent chess and win my games. There were a lot of up and downs, so I just wanted to be like, what, worrying about someone else winning or losing is not going to help me. So I was just more focused on my own game. But I noticed the other players, they were more nervous about each other's game, and the players who were trailing with me, I think they got more nervous whenever I got into winning position. They messed up. So, and I think everyone was pretty young compared to me. I was like, I'm the oldest guy out there. I was like 22-year-old, and I was still the oldest. Like everyone else was like 19 or 20. So they were still like yet to mature in that kind of stages. So I think that helped me a lot. And so in the final game, yeah, it was like very mixed uh, feelings because I wanted to play decent. I mean, I really wanted to finish well, and at the same time, I was having a very happy news going around, and yeah, it was very unexpected. Like I was not even mentally prepared entirely because most of the time my entire thing was I played a very decent chess. I played a really good performance, but I was pretty sure I'm not going to win the championship. Not because of my performance. I just thought like others were also doing pretty good, so it's not in my hand. So what I did was I was like, okay, so I was like calculating. I played against one GM, so if I was like calculating last 2 rounds. If I get two more GMs, I'll at least secure a GM now. So if I get tied up for first, I'll at least secure a GM now. So that was my entire goal. And suddenly they told me like by the end of 8 round, I was like a GM directly. So it was like very surprising and very happy moment for me.
Amazing. And as you mentioned that you were speaking to your dad during the tournament that I have to play well, I have to do well. After you knew that you have done it, were you the one who were like informing your family, or your family already knew
No,
before?
so the thing was like I was just like complaining to my dad. I cut the call. Then my roommate called again. Like we spoke for 2 3 minutes. He rechecked the result. Then immediately I called my dad again. He's like, okay, what now? I said, no, I become a GM. And I think they were also shocked a bit. And my mom was like in a function, like she was outside. She was not with my dad. So we made a group call. And when in a group call, video call, when I told her, I think my mom started to cry. She had tears and she was like so happy. I think that was the most happiest moment for me because becoming GM was one thing, but I think it was more happy to see my parents, especially my mom, happy. That was the biggest thing about becoming GM for me.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And how beautiful it was created. Like, right, for 4 years, you have come close so many times. You have like had amazing performances, but those two criterias, it's so hard sometimes to challenge yourself every day to wake up and do the same thing again, which you have been doing, and suddenly this happens when you were least expecting. That's amazing. That's amazing. And when you selected this tournament, did you know that there's a direct title opportunity?
So basically, I got to know this tournament in October.
Mhm.
So like around
Oh,
two
just
weeks.
one month.
Yeah,
Two
two
weeks
three
ago.
weeks. Yeah, two three
Okay.
weeks before the tournament. And my roommate Namit, like he's from Punjab or Delhi. Like he studies in Delhi at the moment. And he told me there's this tournament. If you win, you can become GM. But I saw the previous year list. Like they did not meet the criteria. So I was like,
Okay.
and how they told it advertised the tournament to me. It's a very good place, but just one problem. 1 week ago or 5 days ago, they had two earthquakes back to back in the same area. I'm like,
Oh.
so my friends literally gave me this option. You have a chance to become GM, but you have a chance to die.
So you calculated your chances and you went there. Uh,
I was like torturing the organizer, like, are you sure that you're going to meet the criteria? I'm going to risk my life to come there. Okay. And then my mom was like, do you really have to do this? I was like, it's fun. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Amazing, amazing story. So you knew 3 weeks ago about the tournament, and then you go to play it, you become a grandmaster. But for the people who don't really understand how this is possible, because everybody knows that you have to score three GM norms in three different tournaments, closed tournaments, open tournaments, federations, and then 2500. How did this happen? If you can say in a like a layman's language.
Okay, I think FIDE allows certain continental championships. It's not, I think, other than the World Juniors, like mostly the senior continental championship, they give this title for not a category but open sessions. And this year, like this was Asian Plus, so it involved like 29 countries. And so the FIDE gave a special permission if you can meet the number of GMs and average of the tournament, you can give this permission. So it basically had the same status of a Asian Continental Championship. So that's why this was allocated. And I think recently even the European Continental Championship we saw a direct GM, like he played really well and he got a direct GM. So I think the Continental Championship usually gives you a direct title.
Okay, okay, and that's how you met your criteria and you became a grandmaster. Amazing. So, Rahul, the first question that I have is that all since you started playing chess, I think there is a common goal for all chess players is to become a grandmaster, right? And you have achieved it finally. What is next?
So okay, my thing was like there's been different things because we have a long term goal and we have short term goals, and usually when you're young or when you're starting a slow, like you have a long term goal, but when you're in a journey it's very important to keep a short term goals. So last 2 3 years my goal was to become a GM, and but at the same time I do not just want to become a GM, I want to like establish myself as a strong GM. So my goal at current moment is to cross like 2570 and 2600 level. So to because I feel I wouldn't be happy with myself if I was stuck at this particular rating level. So my current goal is to establish myself as a strong GM. And I think immediately after I became GM, that became put a lot of pressure to me because I was like I was just enjoying and playing my chess, and suddenly they gave me a GM title, and then I was like, shit. Okay, now I have to like, prove myself as a strong GM. I was like just happy playing around, and I think my coach, Samsung, like we had a lot of talks. We were rearranging my training schedules accordingly, and I think the change was like little difficult at the moment, but slowly like we are making a plan for next 2 3 years. So, like, what are things I have to improvise in order to reach the next level. I think my current goal is just that, to establish myself and to improve myself to a strong geo.
That's a very, very nice goal to have. Tell me that after you became a grandmaster, like as you mentioned, you were having fun, and even if you lose a game, it's fine and all. But now that you have a title, grandmaster title to your name, it's a lot of pressure to play against non GMs. Like if you have a reputation that that's they will say I defeated a grandmaster, right? Now you have lost the lost it, right? You can't say I defeated a grandmaster. That's normal for you. But does that as you mentioned, does that add a pressure mentally, or are you out of that already?
Okay, there are two aspects to this. So first of all, when I first became international master, I had this feeling because like I faced this exact thing. Sometimes I had a very terrible 6 months after I became an international master. So like every time I lose with some non-title players, like they'll be like, they'll have that excitement. I feel like okay, it's too much pressure, but I think I learned to handle it. I don't really think too much about these titles at the moment, but right after I became a grandmaster, it added a little extra pressure because previously people were not noticing. It's like, I was doing my own thing and I was like having my own journey. Suddenly it's like, okay, if I make any mistake exactly because I played the very next tournament right after becoming grandmaster, so it was like adding extra pressure at the moment. So it took me like 2 weeks just to normalize, and then after like because mainly I felt extra pressure because I wanted to not when you become a GM, especially when you get a direct title, you feel like you want to prove yourself.
Right.
And after like 1 or 2 weeks of that, I felt okay, I don't want to prove anything to anyone, like I just want to continue my journey as I did before. And I think that reduced the pressure because when you feel like suddenly there's a huge expectations, you think from outside perspective, that affects the game. But then when you realize like why are you playing chess and what exactly is your goal and your journey, I think that will it's a very important thing to do recurringly because at various moments it happens. Like when I first became an international master and I played a bad tournament, I was very hard on myself, but it took me some time to get mature about it. Then again, I faced the same issue when I became grandmaster, but this time I was mature enough to change it fast. I noticed a pattern and I was able to change it fast.
Tell us about the 4 years. I'm sure the 4 years were not easy, as you mentioned that there were you were very hard on yourself when you used to lose a tournament because you became an international master in 2021. There were many of your friends and colleagues who became IMs around that time, and they gradually moved on with their career. You were developing your style, you were developing your career, but there is a thing in your mind, oh okay, maybe they are doing it, where am I going wrong? I'm sure that you had friends, coaches, family, everybody motivated you. How did you motivate yourself? Like if you can share, there are so many IMs in the world who could not cross this, right? This is a huge sea, if I can say, the 2400 to 2500 IM to GM like stretch. What was the lowest point in these 4 years, and how did you motivate yourself?
I think I had a lot of lowest point at the 4 years time. Okay, I think it starts with different timelines because when I first crossed this 2400 when I became an IM, my rating was 2478. So I was like, so I won the Asian Juniors. So the last 2 rounds, if I win 2 games, I'm crossing 2500. So and I scored 1 out of 2. I still got a GM now, but I was not able to cross the 2500 line. But I remember it was in 2022 Delhi Open. I was playing very terrible. It's not like I mean I was like working hard. I was like seeing chess, but my games were always like very miserable. And even I think there was like too much pressure in a sense. Like you're not playing good chess, then you are on yourself. Then again you're not playing good chess. It's in a cycle. So I remember between the tournament I sent Ramesh sir a huge text. Like I was like venting it all out. I was like, I want to become a GM before this particular timeline and so on. And I promised that I will become this and stuff like that. And I think yeah, he also realized I was not in a very good mindset at the moment. And I think that 2022 initial like April, May, June. So this time when we had the Indian circuits.
Yeah, I think national championship, then Guwahati, then Delhi, and then Gujarat. I think
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So these moments were like extremely painful for me at that time because I think in 2021 I played a lot of tournaments. There was not tournaments in India, but I played some round robin. I played open tournaments, and I played Asian. I played really well at that whole year. Probably I went from 22 28 to 24 78 in K20, and so I was like pretty confident about myself. Then in this national juniors, I messed up like some games where I played really good chess. It's just my opponent also played like beautiful chess and they made it to a draw. So like my confidence also was like getting beaten up, and that was like a most painful moment because like I was so close to becoming a 2500 and I just made a GM now, but then I dropped like 50-60 points, and yeah, I think Ramesh sir was also not very happy with me at that time. And not only me, there was like a group of people like my set. Everyone did very well in 2021 and 2022. Suddenly, like people were seeing a decline. And for me, I think first it took some time to accept, okay, to slow down, to reassure myself and things like because when you get beaten up you are more fire, you work more and you want to jump, but it's also important to take some moment to reassure yourself, look at yourself and then put on effort, because a lot of time it's like if you keep punching hard but if you're punching the wall you're only going to hurt yourself. So that's what I did. I just kept seeing chess. I think one of my main points that even back in 2021 or 2022 I was not really very confident about myself. So let's say in lockdown, for example, in 2020, I used to work for 6 months or like more. I used to work like 10 hours or 11 hours a day continuously, mainly because I was scared. Because previously, if you waste time, you waste 10 days, you go for tournament, you get into back chess. Now suddenly you told me I have months at home. So I was like very scared that I must just waste time. So I started working really hard. But the mindset I had was I always believed if I have potential, I will never play to my potential. So if in case if my potential is like 2500, I might play like a 2400. Like if my actual strength is like 2500, I'll play like 2400. So this mindset, what was I had like even when I become IM. So I used to work very hard, but I used to have very little trust. So my solution for that with myself was I just have to keep increasing my strength. So my performance might improve, but I never trust myself like I might play to my full potential. And that was having a backfiring at that 2022 era. And after a few months, there was a lot of trials and error, and everything was like not so great. I think finally, and also like I think at that time Ramesh had also became very busy. He was traveling with Prague a lot, and like we were not able to coordinate the timings and so on. I think one of the major breakthrough that happened to me was like in 2023 I started working with Vishnu Prasanna for like two
Oh,
three months.
okay.
And the first thing he told, like he gave me a list. He asked me a list of questions where I had to self-analyze myself. And after doing that, I also got a better understanding. And I think his way of approaching was he made me understand about myself, like my own chess, my own style, and what type of mistake I'm doing. And his style of teaching is completely different from the previous way of training I did. So I remember the first camp or first class I attended with Western Persona, and at the end of the class, I was like, I've been seeing chess for like last 12, 13 years. I never knew we can see chess like this. So most of the time, it's like completely different way of thinking for him, and it's not like very intense. It's like very conceptual way of thinking. And we also spoke a lot about my mindset. I think this one Ramesh sir have mentioned for long years. I think even both with me and Vaishali, I think he mentioned to us together a lot. Like I remember back in 2017 and 18, he used to say he was very upset, like because I remember once I went and complained to him, like my calculation is very terrible, like I have to improve on that. And he told me like in the among the students, like I was one of the guys with a very good calculation. And Vaishali also said the same complaint to him on the same day probably. So at that time he was like sitting, he told to both of us like, you guys, if you just improve your negative activity, like negative way of thinking, you'll have a huge jump. But I never figure out how exactly to work on that. It's like I know a problem, but I never really understood the problem because it's like very superficial, right? Like when you say negative attitude, you don't get a lot of people don't get into the deep essence of it. And so since I didn't do that, I didn't know how to counter it. So it's like everything I tried was trials and error, and it was not really useful to me. And with Vishnu, what happened was we spent some time, especially on this. Particularly, mostly it's like chess work is what I do on my own and stuff. But mostly with Vishnu, it was more than chess. Like the psychological aspects, we worked a lot, and we also had a group camp where we had some sports psychologists also coming and joining with us. So I think that particular moment of 1 or 2 months, it changed me a lot. The way of thinking I used to do, I learned to accept mistakes. Like at that moment, one thing that changed me was I learned to accept mistake. Like I accepted I can no, I cannot play a game without mistakes. So I was like happy to make mistakes at times. Like if it's on my own terms, like I was like, okay, this is my decision. If it's a mistake, I'll face the consequence. Previously, I used to be very afraid of making mistakes, but now I just feel like, okay, if it's a mistake, but it's still my own choice. Yeah, I think that changed me a lot. So I was like 22. I was like 2300, 2306. I dropped to 2299, and that was when I was working with Vishnu. And at that stage, I had a jump. I went from I mean, I jumped and I came back. I was struggling. I was like 2340 for some while, but it had a positive jump because I remember in 2022, I had only 1 or 2 tournaments in which I increased rating. So like if I play like 10 tournaments, there were 8 tournaments I decrease huge amount of rating, and 2 tournaments I increased like 1 or 2 points. So it was like a very bad slope for me, and so this was a completely different direction. So that gave me a lot of boost. So I improved around like 70 points in 2023. But end of it, like in December, like I lost like 40, 50 points. So it's like it felt like okay, I was kind of stuck. But I saw the direction how it was going, and I realized there was a lot of things I changed. And I think this movement of 2023 to 2025, or what happened was like, okay, in 2020 I learned to identify myself. In 2024 and 5, I had some friends, like a lot of friends that I just talked to. We don't even work in chess, but I have these childhood friends like Vaishali, Prag, Aravind, and these guys, they motivate me even if we don't talk about chess. It's like their attitude and the way we discuss things. And I think so I started becoming more positive, and I started to take decision boldly, and it had a very positive way of growth. I think one of the major motivation that I got a boost, so it was 2024 Abu Dhabi Masters. So I finished the tournament and we were in the airport, and I know Adiban since like 2017 or 2016. So me and Adiban, we were just walking. He just comes to me. He says, "Okay, you know what? I'm gonna adopt you, and I'm gonna make you a GM." I was like literally sitting in my. I was like not bothering anyone. He just comes to me and he says this. I'm like, okay, what to do? And he says, "You're gonna do everything that I say." I said, "Okay." Like it's like complete. He said, "You have to do anything I say." I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And we worked together for like 1 or 2 months. He teach me a lot of things and how to work on certain important aspects of chess. And I think it really helped me because after a long time, it's been a long time since someone just completely put a trust on me. Like I was not trusting myself on the journey to because I was stuck for a long time, so I was not very motivated. But to see someone out coming out of their way to help me and to put that trust on me, it motivated me a lot, and we started working a lot. And we made this deal, like I think for 1 or 2 months we were like sending each other's daily puzzles or daily some work to do, so we keep working with each other. At some openings also we were like working, and he teach me how to annotate better and get better at the opening preparation stuff. And I think that was a biggest motivation at that point, because after that I had a very good flow. I was like, so basically 2024 June, since 2023 I dropped a lot of points. So 2024 June I was like 23-12, and by the end of 2025 around the same date I was like 24-12 or 24-25. So I was like, I increased 100 points. I think mainly because it's like I was more positive. And also, one of the things that helped me was since 2023 or 2024 mainly, I started doing coaching. So I started giving classes because I was facing some financial issues in between. And so what happened was I take 3 hours or 4 hours coaching to children's, and now I had to work on myself for 4 to 5 hours. And I also read a lot of new books, content for classes for 2 3 hours. So it was like during the classes, I revised my basics. I gained more understanding about what I already know. And the night, every night, I used to spend like 1 or 2 hours just gaining new material for the students. So where I gather more knowledge, I think it became more like a I think discipline habit at that moment. I think that also helped me get a more standard form, because previously I used to either play very well or very bad. So now this helped me stabilize. And in 2025 also, like I mean, I was also working with in 2024, 2025 with some strong players. So I was working with them for some help in the tournaments and some preparation. So I think, yeah. So I remember like in one of the interviews, like in 2025 after becoming GM, they asked me, so how long you train, or how long did you train in 2025? So basically like 10 days and like 10 hours. Like I attended like SOEM's classes for like 10 hours in total of entire 2025, and I attended 10 days of Samsunder's camp. So that was my formal training for the entire year. Most of the time I was just sitting with engine, like trying to analyze some portion, make sense of it. The portions which never come into my own game, but rather just like the engines made me more bold and made me more intuitive about certain portions. And yeah, I think one of the reasons from 2020 to 2025 was my friends who helped me a lot, and my coaches also. Like Vishnu, as I said, he played a huge role in my psychology. And after that, Swayams actually, well, I mean, after Vishnu, I did not train under anyone for a long time. So then we had this camp at Swayams. So that was when I started getting back into like getting classes from someone. And for a while we worked there. And then, but it was like mostly online classes and stuff. And then with Samsung, like I, so to, attend this camp, I had to like wait for 1 year because the timings never suited both of us. So after 1 year from September 2025, we attended camps where a lot of GMs and IMs were, we have camps for like 2400 and above. So the camps are very strong. And just, I mean, for example, like the Ilam Bharati and also like even just working with each of the players, you get inspired. Like when I was young, like I used to work with Prag and Arvind Chidambaram. So one of the ways I improved fast was I just wanted to understand what they are listening. So that helped me a lot. And so these group classes, I think, were one of the major things as well.
Amazing, amazing. How beautifully you have put this together, because I had a lot of questions in my mind and it has all gone now because you have like the flow that is coming is so beautiful that I just don't want to break the flow. But yes, I really want to understand that you mentioned a lot of coaches. The most surprising element was Adiban. Like I know that 2024 Abu Dhabi Masters was not a good tournament for Adiban. Him coming and telling you out of nowhere, I'm sure that because you never, I think, have expressed this to him that yeah, I am going through this phase. Can you help me to for him to come out and tell this to you? Such a beautiful story. That's Adiban. And then you mentioned about the coaches, the Vishnu's class. So if you can take us through that a little back, let's take a little step back and tell us that when did you actually start playing chess? Which year was it? How old was it? How old were you? And how did you actually come into the chess world? And then the follow up question is that who were your coaches throughout the years, if you can share?
So I think I started chess around when I was very close to 6 years old, like probably not six
Six
yet,
years.
but
Okay.
very close to 6 year old. It was mainly because I was a very hyperactive kid. Like, my parents had troubles like keeping me in the house. Like I was breaking a lot of stuffs and so on. So they found a chess class. Like it's not an academy. There was a lady called Sunita. She's a arbiter actually, and she had an apartment where a lot of kids come and play chess. Kids were also some I don't think they were rated players, but they've been playing chess for long, so they teach everyone how to play chess. Me and my sister joined on the same day actually, and then my sister, I think she left in off day. She couldn't sit on chessboard at all, so she left. But then I found this game very interesting because there's a lot of things going on, and mainly I was spending time with kids on my own age, and I have some very nice memory because the very first time, probably it was not early when I learned chess, but let's say 6 months later when I was learning chess, I learned something called n person, and then I used to pass on each and every score, like whenever I get a chance. So then after 1 month of doing that, they told me, no, this is not how you should do this. So I think that was really nice because I enjoyed my time, and I don't think till the age of 14 I was thinking much. I was just a kid like who was like playing chess for fun and stuff. So I think I was there for like 1 or 2 years since I was like, at least when I was towards turning 8, probably I left there. But it was like just you go there, you play games, you don't do anything, you won't learn anything as a proper lesson. You just learn how to play your pieces and you just keep playing. And I was also then going to King Chess Foundation. We used to have an academy called King Chess Foundation. So the coach actually died, but I know his son is also like currently into coaching. I think I was working with them for like 1 year,
Okay.
and I think they were like very kind to me, like because I was like the youngest kid at that place, and I got my rating actually while I was there. So I got a rating of 1275. I remember one two
Okay.
seven five.
Okay.
So back
Just
then,
a question. Sorry to interrupt. Were you born and raised in Chennai, and were these all things happening in Chennai, or
yeah,
was
yeah,
this
everything was
in
happening
Chennai?
in Chennai.
Okay. 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 So you went to 1271.
1275
One two
hours.
seven five. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Yeah.
because at that academy, that was the first time everyone got a rating. So it was like really. I was one of the early guys to gain rating, and it was like really nice. And I was stuck in 1275 for at least 1.5 years, probably. So I was not improving much, but I really enjoyed a lot. Like I learned what is opening and all this kind of stuff in that academy, and I still have in contact with them, with my friends over there. And then I moved to Chess Gurukul.
Which year was it?
I think around when I was 8 or 9. So
Okay,
I,
okay, 2 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm not
Okay.
sure about a year, but when I was 8 or 9,
Mhm.
so I remember like coming there and Ramesh was taking the class for the bigger groups. Well, they asked me to go to the other group, and I went there and I was playing against some coaches and stuff. So I remember they have this test back then in Chess Gurukul. You have to play against a coach.
Mhm.
Depending on how you play, they segregate into Group A, Group B.
Okay.
And since I was very nervous because it was a new place to me, I had already one or two friends there, and I was playing very slow because I was nervous. And the coach was like appreciating me. See, he's thinking and he's not playing fast like you. My friends were laughing. That guy doesn't even think. So they put me to a little higher group because they thought I'm thinking and probably doing stuff.
I think that's a trick that should everyone should adapt, not to play fast. Okay.
Like in chess group, the coach basically they gave us just build up your chess, boost up your chess books, and I think I was in that group for like 6 months or something like that. I was still want to. I mean, when I came to chess group, I was like 1225 or something. I
Okay.
reduced rating. I was like almost in the urge of going to unrated back,
Okay.
but then I was again back to 1281 or something when I was in that group, and then I think they took me to Ramesa group because I was playing for chess Gurukul in state team championship, and okay, I think I performed a little bit well, like probably not so well, but I think I performed in the average space. And the coach actually suggested that Ramesh should take me to the group, and me and one more guy, we were like only the lowest rated in the entire group. So Ramesh sir had this policy like he won't take anyone to that group if you're below 1600, and I
Okay.
was like 1200 or 1300 going to that group. And I remember one of the very first class, Ramesh sir asked, "What is your plan for black?" Like I remember Mahalakshmi was there, and they were all like 2200, 2100, and I was a kid, so I was like, I don't even care about like okay, they are like big players. So when he asked for plan, I was like, if you're just asking me what black to do, I'll put a king there, rook there, knight there. I was like keeping it on the board, and it was the correct answer for some reason. And he was like, okay, you have a very good imagination. I was like, yes. So, I mean, I remember Ravi sir used to tell me this, like, when I was young, one of the first classes, apparently, like, he was telling me some stuff, and I was like joking, you come out, I'll give some poison in your food or something like this. Like, I was a kid, and I was like making these jokes, and he still like tells me like, you're the first guy to ever like tell me those stuff. Like, I was like, you're like scolding me too much. I'll come outside, I'll book some goons to eat you, something like this.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was like I was a small kid, like
Why? Because he was very strict and very disciplined, like that.
straight in this way. He was just like making jokes, like okay, what is this? You're doing this and stuff like that, or like be quiet and stuff like that. So I also
Okay.
said in the same joking manner this, and he still remembers it, and he tells it each and every time.
Wow. So when you joined Ramesh sir's class, who were the players who became your friends? Or did Prag Vaishali were already there or they came later?
No, I think they came when I was like around. I think Brett came when he was around 9 year old, so I was like 11 year old at the time.
Okay, okay.
But I think yeah, probably around that time. But when I came, there was Mahalakshmi, Monisha, like they were like the world youth winners at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the thing is, I don't remember seeing Aravind much, uh,
Okay.
in my memory at least. So my memory of Aravind starts when he was 15. So when he already became grandmaster. So before that, I don't remember him, but there were like a lot of other players. But mainly these, there's Michelle Katrina, like she's like a very long time student of Ramesh. I think she also won World Youths and so on. She's currently in US, and
Mhm.
okay, they were like seniors to me, and they were like very kind to me and stuff. And then there was like some other place. I think most of the place stopped chess at the moment there. And after like, so I joined when I was like 1200. Then After 1 year, I was like 1500, and after next year, I was like 1700. So I was like jumping 200 points each year. And yeah, I remember when around 2016. So what happened was I was like 2-0 or 2-1 at that range, and I broke my leg. So it was like I was like playing football in my school and I broke my leg, and doctor told me like I had to sit in bed rest for 2 months. So 2 months I had no. So previously, like if I get bored cinches, I could just go out and stuff. Now I was stuck in my bed, and they gave me a laptop, and they say everyone is sitting together. I was like I can't even watch a movie, so I have to like see chess for the entire time. So I was like seeing chess and stuff, and in between we had a camp with a foreign coach. I don't remember the name exactly, but Ramesh sir arranged a coach for us. And I was like, sir, I want to attend this, but I can't even sit properly. So Ramesh sir arranged a chair, a table in a way that I can stretch my leg and attend the camp for like 10 days.
Wow.
So my parents used to carry me to attend the camp, and that was really nice. And that time I won this national amateur that year. Right after that, I came second or third in Abu Dhabi B group, Masters B group. So that was the one of the first big international events that I played. I did well, and then right after that, I won this national amateurs. And yeah, in 2016, I was like 22, 2100. I don't think I was 2200 at that moment. And then 2017, like exactly on my birthday, we left for a Europe trip, my first Europe trip. So with Ramesh and there was Bharat Subramaniam with his mom, and there were like few other players. So it was like everyone came with their parents, and I was staying with Ramesh sir. So that was the entire case of it. So it would be very nice because I used to make Ramesh sir force me to tell bedtime stories. Like whenever I am bored, I'd be like, you know what, tell me a story, and he sits and he tells some story to us, and
Wow.
it would be like that. And I think that tournament changed me completely the way I was looking at chess, because usually I spend a lot of time with kids, or like I spend time with my parents or the parents together or with kids. But this time I was spending more time with the parents as alone or with Ramesa. So I learned a lot of from parents' perspective how actually difficult it is. And in Europe, I it was my first time, and I saw a lot of players in their 19s or 20s, struggling in chess. So at that particular point, for a momentary time, I was like national number one in under 13. Yeah, under 13. I was like 2306, and I played well. I mean, that trip I became 2306 and stuff. So I played pretty well, but I was like very scared because previously I was not exposed to all these things. Now I feel exposed, like I feel even this rating is not good enough to survive in chess. And I was like so afraid. I mean, I learned a lot of things, especially, but I also, put extra pressure on myself due to exposure of these things. And I was very scared. Like, I was so scared, like, okay, what if I don't survive in chess? What if chess doesn't last? So, due to that scariness, I started working a lot more. And I was like that time we were already having group with Arvind, Prag, Vaishali, me, Kartikeyan Murali was also there. So we were working a lot. And the very next tournament, I scored my first IM norm in Sarja Masters. And it was going good. But the problem was, like, after that, the very first bad tournament I had, I did not have a mental support. So since I was already very scared, so my work was like not because I love chess, but because of fear at that particular moment. And when I had a bad result, there was no, backbone to support myself. Like my coaches, my parents are very supportive, but me myself, in my back of my mind, I was not very supportive of myself. And Ramesh noticed it immediately, but he gave me some suggestions to do at the moment. But I thought it, in my view, as a small teenager, I was like, those felt like very non-related stuff, because I was like, I'm talking about chess and he was talking about something else. So I was like not really listening to it, but it affected me for like 5 6 months. And then by the end of 2017, I went for again a Europe trip with my mom, and there I played continuously well, and I made my second IM. I was like 2385 or 23 something like that.
Which year was it?
It was 2018 January. So 2017 December we started a Spain trip, and then we went into this 2018 Czech Republic,
Mm-hmm.
Czech Open. I made my second IM, and that IM has a funny story in it, because the last one. I'm going, I have to win to get IM now. No one told me that I have to win. So in my first IM now, Ramesh said told me like if you get a draw, you're getting IM. So I went and asked my opponent, can you make a draw? He said no. And I started playing. So in that tournament, in the first IM now tournament, I was playing for a win. The last one was very easy for me. This time I don't have to try for a win. So I just sat entire 30 moves. My opponent got very fed up. I was playing against Nitin S at that time. He looked at me, he was very fed up with the position. He offered to draw himself, and I'm like, okay, I got it now. This time, they didn't tell me that I have to win. So I was playing, it was a very equalish position. I kept offering draw 2 times to my opponent. He rejected both of the times. And then he made a positional blunder, and I won after that. After that, when I come just out of the tournament, all they told me, "What happened if you win? You're getting I am no." I'm like, you should tell me this before I go to the game, yeah, not after I finish the game.